Hello and welcome to commentary, full delayed commentary of yesterday's game between Burnley and Manchester United from Turf Moor. Our last commentary game before the international break saw two under fire teams really needing the points. Burnley, because they haven't won in the first four league games, and of course they've had the Europa League to juggle, and they were cruelly knocked out of that on Thursday, but they were hoping to bounce back against the Manchester United side, whose manager Jose Mourinho appeared to be under the cosh, and saying that and obviously things had been said with 3 premierships and stuff like that, reacting to that 3-0 defeat at Tottenham. So he had a point to prove this yesterday afternoon. As it turned out, it was very eventful, but Burnley's point of view, probably for all the wrong reasons. But there will be, we will include the commentary of the minute silence that was for Jimmy McIlroy yesterday, and I thought that was really obviously nicely observed too. But let's get back to about 10 to 4 as the teams came out onto the tunnel as Burnley took on Manchester United. They say must winners, even at this early stage, is a bit of a cliche, but it really is a must winner today. Let's have a look at that Burnley side. To start with Joe Hart in goal, back four of Phil Bardsley, James Tarkowski, Ben Mee and Charlie Taylor. Then it's Lennon, Cork, Westwood and Dwight McNeil impressed so much in that first leg in that game against Olympiacos. And then you've got Jeff Enrick in behind, Chris Wood up front. On the bench you've got Heaton, Lowton, Vokes, Barnes, Ward, Matthias Vidra and Kevin Long. So a pretty strong bench, although there were a few eyebrows raised at the likes of Ward and Lawton weren't recorded. Manchester United line up as follows with David De Gea in goal, and it's a back four: Valencia, Smalling, Lindelof and Shaw. Lingard, Matic, Fellaini, Sanchez and Pogba, who will play as the number 10, in behind the main striker Romelu Lukaku. On the bench, Lee Grant, former Burnley keeper, Bally, Rashford, Anthony Martial, Fred, who's been dropped, Ashley Young and Ander Herrera. And now we pay a minute's silence to the late great Jimmy McIlroy, quite simply a Burnley icon. As we pay a minute's applause, minute's silence to Jimmy McIlroy. Well, I'm sure Jimmy himself would love to relish this sort of a fixture. Impeccably observed, although you could probably hear a banner above saying Ed Woodward, a specialist in failure. Well, will Manchester United be specialists in failure this evening? Or will they end up getting their second win of the season? Remember, they've already beaten Leicester this season in the Premier League. Now can they try and beat Burnley? Manchester United in like a pale pink shirt. Manchester United also with dark shorts as the first cross comes in, away by Tarkowski from the far side and hooked away. And should be a very interesting confrontation there between two sides that are quite under fire for very different reasons. Burnley really enduring the disappointment of bowing out of Europe three or 4 days ago. This is Sanchez now, who scored twice against Burnley in his Arsenal days, both from the penalty spot, you may recall. Scored in that controversial win for Arsenal last season when Ramsey made an absolute farce in winning the penalty, you may remember, and I was very angry about that. Fellaini, rather Fellaini touching that on. Matic is there too. And ball back now, and that's a chance for one. And look at the ball in there, and the referee should be pulling him up there. Lindelof clearly had a fistful of Wood's shirt, and the referee, John Moss from Yorkshire, did not even blink. Wasn't prepared to give a free kick. The crowd are absolutely incensed around me. And Smalley brings it away from his own penalty area for Manchester United. It did look as if Lindelof had about 2 fistfuls of shirt, and John Moss just didn't spot it. Well, we had some crooked refereeing in Europe. Let's hope it's not. Let's hope this unwanted sort of refereeing is transferring itself back to the Premier League. Remember, Burnley haven't had a Premier League penalty in more over a year, and that's onside, and it's Lukaku through. Tarkowski to meet him, and now it's Sanchez. Ball back here. Jesse Lingard is then there. Lingard shoots, and he's hit the stanchion at the back. And, well, for one moment I thought Harper Turfmore was taking a sharp intake of breath. It looked as if Jesse Lingard there with his right foot on the edge of the area. It was almost like the goal he got against Panama in the World Cup, where he's bent that in. And he's hit that with such curl and vigour, and he almost drifted into the far corner of the net. It would have been a terrific start for Manchester United, who have certainly started on the front foot. Jesse Lingard so close there to the opening goal. Joe Hart with the kick. Right-footed. Header away by Fellaini. The big, tall, afroed hair guy. Looks a bit like Screech of Saved by the Bell. It's been a very dull day over in Burnley today, as that ball whipped in there towards Sanchez. Sanchez pulling the ball back and away by Tarkowski. Just a little point or two about Jimmy McIlroy. His funeral was held here on Friday, and it was well attended and well received by the Burnley public, who gave him all sorts of tributes and floral tributes and all sorts of things and like that. Really good to see. Meanwhile, back today, it's a free kick to Paul Pogba's one. You wouldn't believe he cost £89 million, would you? Most of the Burnley squad would cost just around that as a whole squad. That's the sort of financial mismatch we're up against here today, as Fellaini heads back from the free kick from Alexis Sanchez. As header away by Bartley, who was interestingly getting the nod there ahead of Matt Lawton. I'm a bit surprised Dash went for him there. Shaw tries to shot with his left foot, and it's an easy one there for Joe Hart, down away. Just a tinge there to his right hand side, guarding his near post. Did well here, Luke Shaw. Been very impressed in what I've seen of him. I thought he played well in a very poor team performance on Monday night against Tottenham when they were absolutely thrashed 3-0. And I also saw him in action against Leicester. Remember, scored in that game on opening night. You may remember at Old Trafford. And I think he's had a good start to the season personally, whereas his team haven't. And Jose Mourinho knows he's a man under fire. A lot of people have been using quotes, dead man walking. Has he lost his touch? Is he out of date? Well, I don't think you become a bad manager overnight, quite honestly. I had some pretty choice words to say about him there, but the remark he came out with, the other night was after the defeat against Spurs. I don't know whether it was a show of defiance or whether he was trying to protect his players from criticism. Well, I have to say, as Barca gets the ball forward again, looking towards Chris Wood. I'm amazed that he hasn't gone maybe with Sam Vokes or Ashley Barnes today, or he may have gone or decided to go 4-4-2. It seemed to work pretty well, I felt, against Olympiacos, certainly in large periods of the match where obviously they had to go for it, Burnley, because they were 3-1 down, you may remember from the first leg, but they certainly played well with that 4-4-2. I'm surprised Datch hasn't tried to go with that against Manchester United. He's gone back to the 5 in midfield and Jeff Henrik in behind, when quite clearly I think Datch knows. I mean, you could have played Vidra there. I think he'd be a much better option than Jeff Henrik, and Jeff Henrik is more a box-to-box type of player. 5.5 minutes gone, or 5 3/4 minutes gone. It's Burnley 0, Manchester United 0, and United just pressing the ball about around their own half, and Burnley not really putting too much pressure on them at the moment. Here's David De Gea now with the kick. Right-footed over the halfway line it goes. Lukaku wins the first ball, and then the ball locked forward, cut out by Burnley, who actually had a good match on Thursday night. Best I've seen him play all season. Ball over the top, looking for Chris Wood, and it's going to go straight into the arms of David De Gea. Chris Wood really needs a big game, I feel. He's scored 2 goals this season. 1 from open play against Aberdeen, and 1 from the penalty spot a week ago against Olympiacos. As that long ball looking for Sanchez, couldn't find the Chilean, but Joe Hart was there in a flash. And it's a good atmosphere around Turf Moor. This is Phil Bardsley on the right hand side now for Burnley. Boyhood Manchester United fan, of course. He was at fault for the winning goal last season when these two sides met. A goal in the second half by Anthony Martial, winning the day of that day. As Court plays a 1-2 there with McNeil, and then the ball gets tossed forward there towards Wood on the left hand side. McNeil is offering some support, so too is Taylor. Infield to Henrik. It was a nice passage of play there from Burnley. Good one-touch stuff. Westwood now in midfield, but he's been bullied off it by Sanchez quite fairly, says the referee. And here goes Lukaku and Shaw down the near side, the left-hand side as we look. Luke Shaw now for Manchester United. Gets the crossing, hits Phil Bardsley, and it's out for a throw-in to Manchester United, in line almost with the edge of the Burnley penalty box. 7 3/4 minutes gone. Burnley 0, Manchester United 0 at Turf Moor. The Clarets match delayed. This is Matic now, left-hand side. Matic again in field to Sanchez. Sanchez gets the ball back. Pogba, 25 yards from goal. Chooses Valencia. Valencia now looking to get the crossing. Valencia's crossing in there, and it's Lingard, and it got a deflection, which made it very awkward for Joe Hart to get across. It may have deflected, I think, off Tarkowski, but Lingard there inside the 6-yard area. He got 2 goals in the game at Old Trafford between these two sides. On Boxing Day, well, nearly repeated the dose here at Turf Moor this afternoon. Stabbing it goal as it hits Tarkowski, and it's going in, and Joe Hart having to palm it out for a corner. Lingard looking very active in this opening few moments of the game. 8.5 minutes. In fact, a free kick has been given. Incidentally, there was an infringement in there which we didn't see. So a free kick then to be taken by Hart. Hart over the halfway line with the ball out of play for a throw-in. This is the last commentary before the international break, where I'm going to be busy over the international break. I'm taking a little breather myself. I've done the majority of the 14 commentaries that we've done, with Russ doing a couple himself, chipping in when we can, but we're going to have new voices back and some familiar ones. It's Jesse Lingard goes for goal again with his right foot and puts this one over the bar, or puts this lighter step over the bar. Manchester United, in fact, attacking the Jimmy McElroy end in the first half, as we see a replay, which I'm seeing a replay, which took a little while there to start playing, because they freeze-framed it for a second, and then it took a little while to get the replay rolling. But it doesn't matter. It's still 0-0, and a very good first half. Certainly dominated by Manchester United. Burnley's last win at against United was back in August 2009. That's just over 9 years ago. Last month when they beat Manchester United 1-0. Robbie Blake scoring in around about the 18th, 19th minute mark in a match. And Brian Jensen, who saved a penalty and then made 2 world-class saves in the second half. That preserved Burnley's most famous victory in recent times anyway, over Manchester United. So we've had 10 minutes here at Turf Moor, and it's still 0-0. And I have to say, it's not been a great start from Burnley. I don't know whether the hangover from the Europa League is in a vengeance, but something's not quite right with the team. I mean, I've had my piece on my feelings at board level. Should the board have backed Dyche enough? I don't know. I think Dyche, in my opinion, has been undermined by the board. That's my personal opinion. As Manchester United in those pink shirts look to go forward, but they go backwards with Shaw and then Lindelof and then De Gea, who's conceded a whopping 7 goals in 3 games. 1 against Leicester, 3 against Brighton a couple of weeks ago, and 3 on Monday against Tottenham. Here's Luke Shaw now on the left-hand side for Manchester United. United go to Watford in just over 2 weeks' time, and then Burnley the next day go to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and that's going to be an even tougher test, especially if they use this one this afternoon. So it's important that Burnley don't drop too many points here today. But here's a chance now for Lingard. Lingard with a first time cross, and it's well cut out inside the 6-yard area by sprawling Joe Hart. His handling looking very good today, looking assured. And good football this time from Manchester United once again. Lingard at the heart of everything that's been good about United and so far, it has to be said. I was very impressed with him during the World Cup, and he proved 1 or 2 doubters, including myself, wrong. Certainly against Panama when he played an absolute stormer. Scored the goal of the match, in my opinion, that 25-yard thunderbolt into the top right-hand corner of the net. It was an absolute unstoppable shot. When England won riot and won, I think 6-1. I think Harry Kane got a hat-trick that night, and Maguire got 2, I think. It was really... John Stones, I think, got 1 too, if memory serves me right. But it was a really good day for England as they marched on to the World Cup semis, which they were ultimately, of course, as you may remember, knocked out by Croatia. Still fresh in the memory, almost 2 months on, as Shaw has been penalised here for a foul on Aaron Lennon. It's on the right hand side, about 15 yards inside the Manchester United area. Clash of heads, and it's gone Burnley's way. And this is where Burnley are going to make it count now. 13 minutes gone. Will it be lucky 13 from this free kick for the Clarets? And Dwight McNeil, who impressed very well, as we all found out on Thursday, will take the free kick. Caused Olympiacos a lot of problems, I felt, with the trajectory and the flight of the 3 kicks. Caused a lot of problems. His crossing was very, very good. Here's the 18-year-old then with it, left-footed in towards the penalty area. Ben Mee jumping. The ball just bouncing around on the edge of the area. Breaks to Westwood, who chips that in there towards Chris Wood. But there is safe houses. David De Gea, I should say, he's handling safe as houses. There's another foul midway inside the Burnley half, this time by Alexis Sanchez. It looks like Phil Bardsley's taking a knock for his troubles. Well, Sanchez certainly leaned in there with his arm. I'm not sure that's an elbow offence, and then Bardsley, while falling down, hit the back of his head on the pitch. As we come up towards a quarter of an hour played at Turf Moor. 0-0 between Burnley and Manchester United. 2-2 and 1-0 to United in the 2 fixtures last season. Prior to that, 0-0 and 2-0 the season before that. As the free kick comes in towards the edge of the area. Flick on again by Tarkowski, and it's straight into the arms very easily of the Spaniard, David De Gea. First choice goalkeeper at the World Cup. Conceded quite a few in that one, including Cristiano Ronaldo, of course. He got a hat-trick in that match we famously covered in the World Cup on the second weekend. As the ball is chipped forward, but that's out of play. On the second day of the World Cup, I should say. Manchester United fans in good voice. So too the Burnley fans, actually. Whipping up a real lethal cocktail of an atmosphere around the stadium. This is Lingard now, just drifting out towards the left. Into Alexis Sanchez, and the ball's kept in there by Shaw on halfway. Now the ball with Lingard, 10 yards inside the Burnley half. Still on the left-hand side. This is Lingard now, putting down the left-hand channel. Now finds Sanchez on the overlap. Sanchez's ball in. It's a good one towards Lukaku. Can't reach it there. Good defending as well by Charlie Taylor. And the ball taken comfortably by Jars inside his 6-yard box. And Burnley go away with Westwood. Now McNeil. McNeil into Henrik. Henrik A little bit careless almost, but he found Ben Mee. Now Taylor has it. Infield again. Jeff Henrik, the Irishman, called up to the squad for the Republic for the upcoming Nations League games. European Nations League. I just think they're just glorified friendlies, quite honestly. They don't have too much bearing on things, these UEFA European Nations League games. Just a way to try and make friendlies more appealing. I don't see the fuss about all that, to be quite honest. I'd just rather see league football, quite honestly. Leave the international stuff till the World Cup. Here's Barsley now on field, on towards Henrik on the right hand side. Barsley with a first time cross. It's a good one, but can't find one. It is a throw into Burnley. Lindelof there getting a good head on that, and it's behind for a throw in, almost in line with the edge of the United penalty area. This is Court now. We're still deep inside the United half, although he's knocking it back towards halfway, and it's Westwood to Court. Court back to Westwood. Now it's back over halfway, and it's Tarkowski. Tarkowski just trots it over the halfway line and then looks to get a ball forward. From Greater Manchester, incidentally, James Tarkowski's born in Oldham. Here's McNeil now from Taylor's pass. Gets it back to Taylor. Taylor with a decent cross whipped in. Goalkeeper deciding to fist it. Lennon might retrieve that. No, he's let it go for a throw-in. Again in line with the edge of the United penalty area on the right-hand side for Burnley. And it's Barsley to take it. Takes on with it quickly. Now Barsley again. Lennon in support. Lennon trying to play the 1-2. And Lodge is away. And Sanchez has absolutely pushed him over. That had to be a free kick. And the referee, I think, is going to get his book out here. And Alexis Sanchez, the Chilean, is the first player to be shown the yellow card in the contest. Sanchez certainly pushed over his man, and a free kick I think was the right decision, and a yellow card as well because it was a clear obstruction as well. So a free kick to Burnley in a very promising position in line with the edge of the 6-yard box, just on the edge of the penalty area on the right hand side as Mourinho has a rueful look towards the camera that was panning on him. So this really is a big opportunity. Westwood, McNeil over the two-man committee over the set piece. It's going to be the left foot, I fancy, of Dwight McNeil. If he can put a good ball in here to somebody like Chris Wood, might be able to profit from this. So it is McNeil then. Westwood has run away into the penalty area. Literally 2 yards outside that United penalty area. If Barsley had just been a little bit quicker. There's a free kick. Oh dear, it's a little bit disappointing. He hit that in possibly with too much whip there, McNeil. I could see what the idea was, but if it was intended as a cross, it was never going to reach anybody. 19 minutes gone. Burnley 0, Manchester United 0. Burnley still holding firm in this game, but Manchester United, they have to be odds-on favourites. Even the more staunch as the Clarets would say that. As De Gea takes his goal kick right-footed. And Burnley now will really need to get something from this game. It is a tall order when the Manchester United side are in town. And when you play Manchester United, it is a very different proposition from any other team you face over the course of the season. No disrespect to all the other big teams. But the fact that Manchester United are in town should be motivation for those Burnley players. But at the moment, they don't seem to be testing David De Gea much, and that's a little bit of a concern, because you really, if you're against Manchester United, you want to be putting in a shift against them. As Lennon hooks it high in the air looking for Wood, and Court might win the next one, but the big tall 6'7" Afro there for Laney winning the next one. And now here's a chance for Matic, and Matic is a tall man and he did well there. He had the skills. He's found Jesse Lingard on the left hand side. Shaw is there on the overlap. Good football again from United. Pogba has it 25 yards from goal. Shaw chips it into the penalty area, headed away by Taylor, and in fact a free kick impact for pushing against, I think, Romelu Lukaku. And Burnley, with 20.5 minutes gone, will be pleased about that. Another dangerous ball in there by Shaw, and I just see there Lukaku just had a fistful of shirt there, and I think the referee had no other option but to penalise the big bulky Manchester United striker, formerly of Everton and West Brom, of course. Started his career at Chelsea. We've come up towards the halfway mark of the first half. 0-0 is the score at Turf Moor. Fellaini's given away a free kick. Again in a promising position here. And real opportunity here for Burnley to try and make something of this now. We've played 21 and a half minutes at the first half. Burnley have got a chance. And it's Dwight McNeil, the 18-year-old, who's wanting every responsibility. I think it might actually be Westwood, in fact, who chips that in towards the penalty area. And again, good defending there, good header one, and then the second ball was cleared well by United. And here is Paul Pogba, but he's run out of pitch. The ball's run out of pitch down below me on the near side. And he gets a few cheers against his name. Burnley fans ironically cheering him. And Paul Pogba having all his own way here today. He's come out in the press and criticised the manager previously. His agent has been a little bit doolally as well. Going to compare him with Paul Scholes. I mean, you can't compare Pogba's achievements against a man who's won 11 Premier League titles, countless FA Cups, countless League Cups, and 2 European Cup winners' medals. Granted, he didn't win much with England, won no World Cups at club level. Paul Scholes' record is probably the best of any footballer that's ever played the game in England. And the guy never used to complain, he never used to moan, he got on with the job, unlike Paul Pogba. Something for his agent maybe to remember. Well, we're halfway through the first half, and Burnley and Manchester United still deadlocked at 0-0. And if it was to stay the same, if it was to end a draw, I don't think Burnley would be too displeased with that, considering they've been up against it for long periods of the first half already. And David De Gea, the Spaniard, takes the kick now for Manchester United. Right foot over the halfway line. Lukaku jumping there with McNeil. And actually McNeil coming out the better there, but he's lost it out to Lingard. And now Lingard gets it back from Lukaku. And Shaw makes a break, and Sanchez picks him out. And now Shaw pirouettes on the left-hand side. Looks to try and get across in. No, he's got him field, in fact, to Matic. Now Matic trying to thread the ball through. But again, good defence there from Burnley. There are 2 banks of 4 and 5 there, getting back there and sort of blanketing Manchester United's attacks out. And then Chris Wood then silly, rather stupidly gives away a throw-in. Although I think he was having his shirt pulled again by Lindelof, I think. And there's been a number of occasions where the shirts have been, where Lindelof has been pulling the shirt, but it's a Manchester United ball. 24 minutes of the first half played. Burnley 0, Manchester United 0 in the Premier League. Our final commentary before the international break, and we'll have a couple of weeks off from commentaries. Then we'll be back with a vengeance. And I have to say, hot news, if you didn't hear the news on Saturday, I'm going to tell you again today that Chris Whiteman, after the international break, after his long holiday, will be back, and back with a bang, as he returns to commentary duties here on the JB Claret YouTube channel. So in a couple of weeks' time, Chris Whiteman will be back in the commentary box, doing his usual brand of terrific commentary, like as you heard during the recent World Cup, and he was absolutely superb throughout it. And I really enjoyed listening to him commentate on the football during the summer. It was absolute joy to behold. Right, 25 gone, 0-0. Ball round the corner, and here's Wood now with a chance now, 25 yards from goal. Plays it towards McNeil. I thought he might have had a shot there. Ball back there to Westwood. Again, I don't understand why he didn't have the shot. Taylor now tries to hook the ball in. And again, it was lucky for Lennon, who's not one of the tallest of players. Corks in there to win the next ball. McNeil now to Taylor. Left-hand side. Taylor back to McNeil. McNeil will ledger up across, but it's no one. Again, Chris Ward is very static inside that penalty area. I've noticed that a few times already this season, certainly against Watford, certainly against Fulham, and certainly in a couple of occasions against Aberdeen over the 2 legs. He's looked very static and not going for balls that he would usually go for. He's putting in a little bit of a lazy performance here, Chris Wood, certainly as trying to get on the end of crosses is concerned. Going up now towards the 26-minute mark. This is Pogba now over the halfway line for Manchester United. Shaw out on the left-hand side, and he finds him. Now Luke Shaw for Manchester United. Looking to measure across. Sanchez is there too. Sanchez in towards Lukaku. Sanchez will try again. Then ball back to Pogba. Thought for a moment he might have shot right-footed. Still has the ball. Now back to Matic. Matic has got Shaw on the left-hand side. Lukaku's peeling away if he needs to. And there's the ball in there towards Lukaku. And from 6 yards out at the far post. Makes absolutely no mistake. Lovely cross from Sanchez with his right foot from the left-hand side. Joe Hart cursing the fact that he's conceded. And a lovely chip forward. And really poor defending again. They left Lukaku unmarked. And when you do that, you run the risk of conceding a goal, and that's what happened there. Good football, though, for Manchester United. There's the ball in from Alexis Sanchez. Definitely onside as the ball went in. And Lukaku, from no more than 6 yards out, said, "Thank you very much, I'll have my second goal of the season." It's a lovely goal for Manchester United. It will give them a bit of a lift as they look to try and recover from a poor start to the season, but it's not what Burnley wanted. It's bad news here at the Turf. Burnley 0, Manchester United 1. 27 minutes have been played. Romelu Lukaku with his second goal of the season. He got one earlier on, I think against, it might have been Leicester or Brighton, I think, earlier on in the season, which was his first. But, well, he missed a real sitter against Spurs on Monday. I think he's more than made up for that today. And the ball out of play for a throw-in. Well, actually, it's going to go for a goal kick to Manchester United. Well, it was very dismal defending again from Burnley. It's got to be said, it's un-Burnley-like. And I've watched a lot of the Clarets over the last 20 years. And I have to say, since Sean Dyche has been there in the last 5, defensively, it's always been rock steady. Clean sheets are plenty. But on this season alone, They've conceded 3 against Watford, 4 against Fulham, and now they've conceded against Manchester United. These are just taking out the European games. So Manchester United and Burnley here, they've conceded a whopping 8 goals in the last 3 games now. And you just wonder, going back to that opening match against Southampton, if they had taken their chances in that game, would it be a different story? Well, there is a lot to be considered at the moment. This is letting out for Burnley, trying to beat Fellaini, who was never going to fool a guy of Marion Fellaini's quality. Here's Alexis Sanchez, whose ball for the opening goal was very good. Here's Matic again for Manchester United. The ball in field there to Sanchez again, and that's a nice ball out to the far side. And look at Paul Pogba here, plenty of space on the right hand side, hooked away by Ben Mee. Pogba in there to win the next ball. Mee winning the header, virtually unchallenged, but only as far as Fellaini. The game now being played exclusively in the left hand half of the field where Burnley are defending in the first half. So you remember United kicking towards the Jimmy McIlroy end, the late great Jimmy McIlroy end in the first half. And well, they're not putting in a performance that Jimmy McIlroy would put in at the moment. I'm afraid Burnley, they've not really turned up at all today, and that says a lot. If we can put it, I don't know what the excuses will be. Will it be tiredness? Well, they've been playing here at Turf Moor during the week, so they haven't had to travel. Here's Jesse Lingard now for Manchester United, in complete command of this game, it's got to be said. Pogba now on the far side. United looking rampant. It's like watching the old United here under Sir Alex Ferguson. Their passing's been much more fluent. Their defending's been a lot more secure and crisper as the ball goes back to David De Gea. And again, I think Sean Dyche is complaining again. The shirt has been pulled again by well, I think it was Smalling this time. Yes, it might have been Smalling, in fact. It was pulling his shirt. And if it was the case, then the referee needs to start getting wising up to all this. We had a Lindelof early on in the first half. Now we've had Smalling on the half-hour mark, and Sean Dyche is furious about that. That's terrible. Oh dear me, that was very robust from Antonio Valencia almost took Charlie Taylor out there. Sean Dyche is furious. And a little surprise. I'm just looking at that. I mean, he's got 2 fistfuls of shirt, and how John Moss can't see that is totally beyond belief. 31 minutes gone. Burnley 0, Manchester United 1, but despite all that shenanigans, you can't deny United haven't been the better team, because they have by an absolute streak at the moment. Burnley haven't really laid siege to that United goal as we would have hoped for. Being the home team, you would expect that. Here's Dwight McNeil. He presses me by a minute. Here's a chance now for Taylor. Needs to be a good cross. It's not really good enough. Wood in the middle again, just not getting in the positions. He's being well marked, though, to be fair, by the United players. Tarkowski in there to win the next one. And now finds Westwood. Now finds Cork on halfway. Now on to Henrik. Or rather McNeil. And now the ball played back, and it's United here can afford now just to be steady eddies about this as the ball goes in towards McNeil. McNeil's got Taylor out on the far side. Needs to be a good cross this from Charlie Taylor. It's not a bad cross, but again, United winning the ball, winning the first ball there very comfortably again. Not enough ambition, I feel, from Burnley when they get into these crossing positions, and this is where they've got to make their mark really against United. This is Henrik now, deep inside the United half. Will he have the shot? No, he's trying to play the ball through towards Wood, who can't get it back to Henrik. I felt Henrik should have had the shot there. And here goes Alexis Sanchez down the left-hand side as he cuts in field, but he has to drift out to the left slightly with the ball now in the Burnley half. Back in field to Pogba. Pogba now to the left-hand side where Jesse Lingard was lurking. And now Polanyi has it just to the right of the centre circle. Valencia back to Fellaini once again. Polanyi tries to cut from the right, cut in from the right, I should say. Now Matic back over the halfway line, Smalling to Lindelof, and it's very comfortable for Manchester United at the moment. Unfortunately, Burnley have been, shall we say, poor. They just haven't looked up for it, and a lot of the supporters are not very happy at the moment. But it goes back to my point that I've been making since July, that Mike Garlick has been very, very screwed, and I think he's undermined the manager's ambition to try and take Burnley and have a real go in both competitions, and he hasn't backed the manager enough. I think he's undermined him quite personally. That's my reading of the situation. The ball over towards the far side. Valencia keeps it in very well on the right, faced by 2 Burnley defenders, McNeil and Taylor does as well to get out of the cul-de-sac, tries to play 1-2 with a Lukaku, and then Tarkowski getting the ball away. Hart rather scuffing his kick, only got as far as the halfway point of the Burnley half, but now McNeil wins possession. He's got Chris Wood up ahead of him. McNeil still through the centre, and it just wasn't good enough to really pick out Chris Wood in the end. But McNeil's showing a little bit of urgency there for Burnley, which is something that Burnley have lacked overall in this first half. This is Sanchez on the left hand side for Manchester United. Shaw on the overlap, and he uses Shaw here. Left hand side, Shaw's cross. Got a deflection off Bardsley that might have made it tad awkward there for Joe Hart, but Joe Hart did very, very well in the Burnley goal. But the volley, Shaw looks a complete player transformed, and he's looking very, very good at the moment, Luke Shaw. I've been very impressed with him so far. In the games I've seen him play this season, he's stepped up to the mark expected of a Manchester United player. Not one of Jose Mourinho's signings, it was a Louis van Gaal signing. But I think he's very good enough to make the step up. He's proved it for so many years with Southampton. He's had injuries. I think Mourinho was out of order ridiculing him like that last season, but you can't criticise him this season because he's really responded to the harsh criticism very, very well. This is Bardsley on the right hand side. Bardsley into Westwood. Burnley needs something now in the last 10 minutes of the first half. And the ball, again, just not reaching Lennon. And one or two of the passes from Burnley are very, very poor here. And here goes, it's 3 against 3 here. It's Sanchez now to the left. Sanchez back to Lukaku. Lukaku, good save. He tried to ding the ball over the top of Joe Hart. And Joe Hart stood up big enough, put his hands out, knew what Lukaku was exactly going to do. And he anticipated it very, very well, the Burnley keeper. That was superb goalkeeping. And that might shut a few of the doubters that have been knocking him now for 2 to 3 years very much up. He's played really well today. He doesn't deserve to have one goal put past him. But a lovely counter-attack here. And Sanchez, lovely football. There was also Lingard waiting in the centre as well, just in case Lukaku decided to try and pull the ball back. But Joe Hart knew what he was doing. That was fantastic goalkeeping. And it keeps Burnley in the game. But Burnley have won a free kick here, and it's about 10 yards from halfway on the far side. And Joe Hart's come all the way out of his goal to take it. So this might be an aerial bombardment here as Hart gets the ball in towards the penalty area. Ben Mee is up. Ball will break nicely for McNeil. Westwood is there now for Burnley. Infield again to Enric. Now McNeil needs to measure across there, the young 18-year-old. He does so. Header back, and it almost came towards Wood, but United again got an important touch there. And in fact, there was an infringement inside the penalty area, so a free kick. It was Spy Tarkowski and a free kick to Manchester United. 37 minutes almost gone. Offside, I think it was the call against James Tarkowski. As David De Gea has yet to keep a clean sheet yet this season. Golden Glove winner last season on the Premier League. So far, no clean sheets in his season so far. Conceded 1 against Leicester. Conceded 3 against Brighton. Conceded a further 3 against Tottenham. Yet to concede 1 today. This is Shaw now for Manchester United. Back in field to Sanchez. Sanchez just turns. They are playing like a team, Manchester United, which we'd very rarely seen under Mourinho. A team full, from my understanding, they are like a team of individuals, and on a lot of occasions they don't play as a team. But today they're certainly going back to basics and playing the sort of football you would probably expect to see an Alex Ferguson United team play. As the chip comes in towards Lukaku from Sanchez. That was another sumptuous chip there as Lukaku tries to bulldoze his way inside the penalty area, and no foul. Well, I'm surprised that the referee hasn't blown up for a foul there on Lukaku, but the referee playing on. This is Valencia in towards Lingard back to Fellaini, then Lukaku trying to hold it up. He's found Valencia, the Manchester United captain. Hard to believe that a few years ago he was bought by Sir Alex Ferguson, and he was a former Wigan Athletic player. I'm sure you youngsters wouldn't have known that. Here's the ball back to David De Gea in the Manchester United goal. Still 38 and 3/4 minutes gone. Manchester United leading by a goal. That was nicely taken, I have to say, by Romelu Lukaku. But so far it's been very difficult for Burnley to try and get back into it. They have shown a little bit of promise, but not much else. Pogba has it 5 yards inside the half of Burnley, and that's a good ball if he can pick out Shaw, and he has done. Shaw kept it in very comfortably, in fact, and Shaw plays the ball back across. Lukaku was there, so too was Alexis Sanchez. Pogba was waiting behind. He scraps on the edge of the area. Now Shaw has it again on the left-hand side. 39.5 minutes almost gone here at Turf Moor. Burnley 0, Manchester United 1. And it's United in complete control, I'm afraid. Burnley just haven't looked vibrant at all. They've looked very, very poor. They've been so un-Burnley-like. It's untrue, really. And you just would not believe it. And that is a big worry. With some big games coming up, you've got Wolves coming up, and then there's Huddersfield, I believe, and then Cardiff. They have to get points from those if they're going to get it back on track and try and stop any lingering harbours of relegation here. As we go inside the final 5 minutes of the first half, Phil Barsley winning a throw-in on the near side. We'll hear from Sean Dyche after the match, and but at the moment it's the Manchester United fans who are cheering at the moment. Burnley fans feeling frustrated by the team, by the Clarets at the moment. Here's Wood now. Poor touch early from Chris Wood. And it's straight into Alexis Sanchez. And I wonder if that 4-5-1 from Burnley, I think teams are starting to find that out now. It's very much I mean, Fulham didn't take too long to find them out, and Watford in the second half absolutely obliterated Burnley. And unfortunately, it's looking like they're very much the same here at Turf Moor this afternoon. One ball forward, and that's going to find Jesse Lingard. Lingard's kept it in. That's good football again from Manchester United. He's up against Barnsley by the byline on the left-hand side. Back to Shaw. Now and Shaw back into field to Sanchez. Still just drifting up to the left. Sanchez shoots right-footed, left 25 yards from goal. Blocked by the defender. And Tarkowski just blazes it as far up the field as he can. In fact, it's Phil Barnsley who blazes it far up the field as he can, and it's out for a throw-in to Manchester United. Here's Shaw now on the left-hand side from that throw-in in towards Sanchez. Try to play a 1-2 with Romelu Lukaku. And straight into the arms of Joe Hart, who's probably been the shining light in the Burnley performance so far today, you've got to say. Here's McNeil now back to Taylor. Taylor over the halfway line on the left-hand side. Again, another potential attack breaks down. 3 minutes to go to half-time here at Turf Moor, plus any time added on for stoppages. I don't think there's going to be too much, I don't think, in the way of stoppage time. Probably, I'm guessing, unless we get some significant injuries in the next 2 or 3 minutes, I'm guessing it's going to be 1 added minute at the end of the first half. This is McNeil on the left-hand side. He's giving a good account of himself. A lot of the Burnley supporters were talking very highly of him on social media the other night after the Olympiacos match, the way he took the Greeks on. And here's Barnsley now on the right-hand side. Infield now to Westwood, on to Cork. Now McNeil. Again, the crowd rise, and McNeil tries to shot, a little deflected forward by Wood. It is a shot on target for the Clarets, but it's in Tame one in back as Wood tried to deflect the shot from McNeil, left-footed. It was going wide, and I think it was on target. Chris Wood trying to flick it goalwards. It wasn't going to trouble the hair or the scorers in any way, shape or form. A little flicklets, a little or no chance of going right in the net, because I don't think as well Dwight McNeil hit that too well. But we're inside the last couple of minutes now plus stoppage time, and you never know, Burnley could still equalise before half time. There's no phrase in football, it only takes a second to score a goal. This is Fellaini now for Manchester United. Looking a lot more comfortable than what Manchester City were yesterday, and they made very heavy weather of beating Newcastle 2-1 in the match that we covered live yesterday. Here's Sanchez now, back in field now to Shaw, and Shaw going forward, and he breaks to Lukaku inside the area. Lingard's there too on the edge of the area. Lukaku shoots, and there's a couple of deflections, and it falls very invitingly for Romelu Lukaku. And Burnley were a little bit unfortunate there. It ricocheted a few times. Lingard's shot took a couple of nicks off the Burnley defence, and it fell very kindly for Lukaku, who volleyed it past poor old Joe Hart, who never ever stood a chance. And right on the stroke of half-time, a minute from the end of the first half, Romelu Lukaku increases the Manchester United lead to 2-0. Third goal of the season for him. And Burnley have got it all to do in the second half. And it's again for their own mistaking, but good running from Shaw. Then Lukaku touches it back to Lingard. Lingard does well, gets his right foot in, hits Ben Mee, then it hits another player. It might have been Westwood. And then it fell very favourably to Lukaku, who was certainly standing in an onside position, finished the job off superbly, and has made it 2-0 to Manchester United with a minute to go before the half-time interval here at Old Trafford, at Turf Moor rather. So Burnley in complete and utter trouble here. Mourinho's side will be absolutely delighted about that. We are, as predicted, it is going to be 1 minute at the end of the first half, as I thought it might be. Barnsley to take the throw-in. Burnley now could do with a goal before the break now. One back now would be essential. Here's Cork now for the Clarets, who just haven't really stepped up to the plate, most of them anyway. Probably with the exception of McNeil, Tarkowski and Hart, who've played okay and played really well. Here's Tarkowski now in towards Westwood. Back to Tarkowski again. Good ball in there towards Wood. Wood now asked a little bit of McNeil, but McNeil's kept it in on the left-hand side. And McNeil's not afraid to take them on, and he's tried to look for Taylor, and Taylor got there, but the ball's ricocheted out, and it's behind for a goal kick to Manchester United. So we're now 10 seconds away from the half-time interval, and there's a lot of Claret spaces, and for which I number myself one. I'm very disappointed with Burnley's performance, but our 3 players who have tried, the rest of them have to take a good long look in the mirror, because it's half-time here at Turf Moor. Burnley 2 goals down, 2 goals from Lukaku, 1 a very simple header, 2 a little bit of luck when a couple of ricochets broke to him, but even so he still had to finish the job off, and he did that superbly. We're going to take a 2 to 3 minute break, and then we'll be back with full match commentary of the second half. But Burnley with it all to do, and Sean Dyche, I think, needs to give half his team a right rocketing, because quite honestly it's not been good enough by half. Half time here at Turf Moor, Burnley 0, Manchester United 2. We'll be back with the second half right after a 3 minute break. Welcome back to commentary of the second half between Manchester United and Burnley. Burnley 2 goals down at the halfway stage of the game. 2 goals from Romelu Lukaku have really given Burnley a real mountain to climb here as we begin the second half then of this important game. Burnley to kick off, attacking the Jimmy McIlroy stand to our left. Burnley at Manchester United attacking the cricket field stand away to my right hand side. And of course we saw a banner at the start with Ed Woodward basically saying specialist in failure. At the moment it's looking like, with all due respect, Burnley are specialists in failure because they didn't really turn up to the party in my eyes in the first half. Found themselves a couple of goals down. The referee has given already a free kick to Burnley, who really could do with the hit of a goal before, just after the break. Free kick they've already won. 5 yards inside the United half. Westwood to take it inside the centre circle, just to the left of centre, into the penalty area goes. Good flick on there by Tarkowski. Couldn't find young Dwight McNeil, the 18-year-old. Taylor to head the next one in just from halfway, meaning to win the next header. Now Manchester United come looking forward again with Nemanja Matic, and he finds Luke Shaw. Back to Matic again, still inside the United half, however, and Westwood there tagging his man. It's a free kick there to Manchester United. No changes incidentally made by either side as we continue with this second half. Burnley really outfought for 45 minutes there, and now the second half is back on underway. Tarkowski in there to win the next header, and then the flick on once again, and Lindelof doing well. Westwood again round the corner on the right hand side, and again Lindelof under pressure from Wood, but turns well and gets the ball away there. Lindelof ball I think has gone out of play on the far side. It has, so it is a throw in to Burnley. And Sam Vokes and Ashley Barnes, double trouble potentially for Manchester United's defence. There is also Mattia Vidra on the bench as well, should Burnley decide to go free-prong maybe later on and maybe take the non-effective Chris Wood off the field. Well, we'll just have to wait and see how that one pans out at the moment in time. But Burnley really finding themselves in a little bit of a spot of bother. This is Jesse Lingard now for Manchester United, just drifting out to the one right slightly there as he takes possession of the ball midway inside the Burnley half. Now Lingard receives the ball again deep inside the half, and now finds Valencia out on the right hand side. Played in the United team that were beaten by Burnley back in 2009. A goal from Robbie Blake, who can forget that, as Sanchez plays the ball back again, and it finds Matic, and then the ball back again doesn't bind, just finds Lindelof I should say. But now Barnsley to win the next ball. Barnsley again on halfway almost, gets the ball forward, but Wood just drifting slightly away from it again. It's been pretty static up front this season. Chris Wood, 2 goals this season in all competitions. Both came in the Europa League, one against Aberdeen and one against Olympiacos in the first leg, as Ben Mee knocks that back to Joe Hart. Still 2-0 to United. We've had 3.5 minutes almost of the second period. This is Westwood now just on the left hand side and finds Taylor, but then Taylor touches it back to Ben Mee. Burnley might as well go for the jugular in the second half and really try and attack United. What they got to lose at being 2-0 down, but they weren't. The performance, apart from probably Tarkowski, McNeil and Hart, the other players really didn't do themselves any justice at all, I felt, over the piece over the first 45 minutes or so. This is McNeil now for Burnley. Finds Taylor on the left hand side. Has to dart back inside, and it's Westwood now into McNeil. McNeil again decides to go left, and it's Jeff Henrique who's just drifted out there, who's playing in the number 10 role this afternoon. Taylor has it again. McNeil now, real opportunity to cross in from the left hand side again. Another decent cross, and again Chris Wood's movement is just non-existent at the moment, and I don't want to keep picking on Chris Wood here, but he's not. His movement inside the penalty area is just shocking at the moment, and it's a bit of a worry if you're Sean Dyche, quite honestly. 4.5 minutes of the second half gone. McNeil now has it inside the centre circle, plays it back over to Ben Mee, just inside the Burnley half, and Mee has to just go back again. Just no cohesion, no positive energy here from anybody in Clarets and Blue at the moment. All being played back to Joe Hart, and that's down to the fact that United have blanket defended Burnley very well, and they're playing Burnley at their own game here a little bit here, United, as we have now into the 5th minute. Still 2-0 to United. Those 2 goals from Lukaku and a free kick 15 yards from halfway on the left hand side, given against Phil Bardsley for foul on Alexis Sanchez. And this really is a tough test here, as for Burnley it's going to be a tough ask really. For the Clarets it's going to be tough at the moment as things stand. United would move on to 6 points if they won today and beaten Leicester on the opening day of the season. And here's a chance now for McNeil now, 25 yards from goal. McNeil shoots, good block there by Smalling, but it breaks nicely to Taylor. Taylor gets the crossing, De Gea comes for it and grabs it under no great pressure. Again, more static waiting from the Burnley attackers, and David De Gea could not have put that one out the air any simpler than what he did at the moment. No foul there on Lingard. Westwood got the ball cleanly according to the referee, John Moss. Now here's Bardsley now looking to get Lennon into it. Lennon really needs to buck up and have a better game. So far he's been a little bit shy to take on players and cross the ball into the penalty area, and I'd like to see more of that from Aaron Lennon so far. This is Charlie Taylor now for the Clarets, back in field to Westwood, and Westwood plays a lovely little ball out towards the far side. Lennon traps it well, and Bardsley now wins possession. Bardsley infield to Henrik. Will Henrik have the shot? No, he doesn't, and then he sows his teammate down the river. Again, opportunities have risen there for Jeff Henrik. Should have took the shot on there, and in the end he's sold his teammate down the river, and then a yellow card has been issued to a Burnley player. Foul there on Jesse Lingard, although it was a little bit harsh on Dwight McNeil, one has to be said, because I think Lingard just made a little bit of a meal of it, just as an attempt to get McNeil into the book, and he has succeeded in that quite easily. Burnley still 2 goals down. We play 7 minutes of the second half, and frankly, really, they haven't really shown any desire. Sanchez cradles in from the back, and a good tackle there from Phil Bardsley. That was really good. Fantastic defence again. There's a 3 kick taken there by Chris Smalling, well over the halfway, 60-70 yard pass, and that's a fantastic tackle from Phil Bardsley. Did really well, and absolutely superb. And well, you can't get much better than that. That saved a certain third goal there, and Burnley again undone by one ball there that was over the top, and that would have been a real problem. Here's Lukaku turning nicely infield to Pogba, 25-30 yards from goal. Pogba again shaking off his marker. Now he finds Sanchez over on the far side, the left hand side as we look. Takes on Bardsley here, Sanchez looks to pull the ball back. He finds Pogba again into Matic, again out to the left hand side it goes, and Matic continues his run just on the left hand channel, pulls the ball back. Ben Mee's there to get it away for the Clarets, but not far enough. This is Shaw now on the left hand side, back to Sanchez from Matic's pass, and in towards Lingard, who flicks it on, and Ben Mee hooks it out. Here's a chance now for for Westwood to get the ball forward, looking towards Chris Wood. Wood was using his strength, finds Westwood, and Wood was absolutely taken out there, clattered to the floor on halfway, but the referee playing on, and that's a good ball out towards the left hand side. And here's Charlie Taylor. Now Burnley needs a little bit more cohesion perhaps. McNeil, who's buzzed around and wants the ball at every opportunity, and he gets it to Taylor. Taylor back inside. Bit of space here for Westwood to work into if he can. Deep inside the Manchester United half. Bardsley now to Lennon. It's now on the right hand side. And here's Bardsley back in field to Cork. Will Cork take the shot on? No, he has to play a 1-2 with Wood, and Wood again. It's really lazy play from Chris Wood, and it's straight to Alexis Sanchez, and this is what's killing Burnley at the moment. It's 3-on-3 now, and it is Lingard through the middle, but here goes Charlie Taylor, and Taylor hooks it out for a throw-in, and there was nothing else he could have done there. There's one or two Burnley fans who are complaining that he should have played it back to Joe Hart, but under the circumstances, and Jesse Lingard, he's got bags of pace, and he's full of running. Taylor just couldn't take that risk. I think it was good, sensible play there by the Burnley left back. And it is a throw-in to Manchester United, which Valencia will take. It's at 10 yards from the corner quadrant. Burnley 0, Manchester United 2. We've had 10 minutes of the second half already. It's gone very quickly. Here's the cross in and up towards Sanchez. Sanchez tries to volley it just from around about the 17, 18 yard mark, and with his right foot hits it into the ground, but it falls very favourably for goalkeeper Joe Hart. It's had actually, despite conceding 2 goals, I'm not sure he could have done anything about those 2 goals, by the way. I think he's had a splendid match, to be fair. I really do. Done well. His handling's looked assured. He hasn't dropped anything that's been significant. His handling has been first rate. It's almost back to his days at Manchester City and he was playing really well for the men in Manchester, the blue half of Manchester. Getting 1 or 2 bits of stick from the United fans, City reject and all that sort of thing. But the only reason he was surplus to requirements under Pep Guardiola is because it wasn't Pep's type of goalkeeper. I don't think he was that bad. I think if he'd have been the sort of goalkeeper that Pep Guardiola liked to play out from the back, I think Joe Hart would have been certainly in the City side. It just happened that he wanted his own goalkeeper, and that's why he went with Henderson and Bravo, and rather than Joe himself. But they did give him a good send-off, Manchester City. I mean, to be at 14 years in a club, I mean, that's some going, that. And he can't have been a bad goalkeeper if he plays for one of the world's biggest Premier League clubs. Or played. But we're delighted to have him at Burnley. Lindelof tries to play a nameless ball there that doesn't find anybody. But I have to say that... really that Burnley have really had a better go, and they're going to go 2 up front, and I'm not surprised. 57 minutes on the clock. Jeff Henrik really again is playing out of position. I think people do give him a harsh time about it, but everybody knows he's a box-to-box midfielder, and I think that's I think every person in his dog knows that he's a box-to-box midfielder. I don't think there's much doubt about that. But Sam Vokes now 2-pronged. Vokes who missed a hatful of opportunities in that second leg a few days ago against Olympiacos, now on the field. And here's Sanchez now, the left-hand side, tries to play the ball and he hits Aaron Lennon back defending there. Well, again, sufficient numbers back, but now they really need to up the game and try and get forward here, because they've got just over 32 minutes to try and find 2 goals and try and save a point out of this game if they can. Here's Valencia now, near side. Valencia touching it back again to Smalling. It's so easy for Manchester United at the moment. Here's Fellaini. Fellaini touching it on. And here is... Sanchez. He's lost out to Cork. Now this is a little bit more better from Burnley, a little bit more hustle and bustle about Burnley's play. It's a shame it's had to come at 2-0 down and in the second half. Showing a little bit more character. Westwood playing the ball forward towards Vokes. That's brilliantly done. That's better centre forward play. Now then, can Lennon skin his man and get the crossover? He can get the crossover. It's a poor cross though, and away by Fellaini, and Shaw will kick that in with a relative calmness of ease on the left hand side. Burnley 0, Manchester United 2, coming up towards an hour of the game. And here's Pogba now on the left hand side, over the halfway line, cuts in field again. There's still 3, 4, 5 Burnley defenders back. Lingard now has it on the right hand side. Lingard, who looked very threatening earlier on, but he's drifted in and out of the game. And Valencia now backing towards Lukaku, and here goes Lingard out to the far side, and it's Sanchez. Sanchez dead central of the D, hits the shot, Tarkowski blocks and clears. And Burnley now have possession. In fact, they've got a free kick. A foul 10 yards from halfway, conceded by Lindelof. inside the Burnley half from the free kick to Burnley. We're going to see the introduction here of Marcus Rashford, who hasn't really had a good start to the season by his own standards. There's Michael Oliver, the fourth official I've just seen there in the background. Burnley have a free kick. Will John Moss allow the substitution to be made? I'm guessing he is. No, he's not. It's a free kick taken by Hart. Up towards Cork now. Cork has to get it out and hits it with his left foot when he should have tried to hit it first touch, then bang. He took 2 touches, and the end of the ball just didn't fall kindly for him, and he wound it over with his left foot. So Alexis Sanchez, no goal for him, but he caused a lot of problems. Had an assist on the opening goal for Romelu Lukaku. Played okay today, Sanchez. And gets a good clap from the United fans as Marcus Rashford now comes on for the remaining 30 minutes, 29 and a half minutes plus stoppage time that remains. And Sanchez, he looks a little bit annoyed with himself, throwing his strapping the way down, his on his wrists, strip as now Rashford gets his first touch, throwing away his strapping on his wrist there. Yeah, I think he is a frustrated man, but he hasn't even put a training top on yet. But with the game at 2-0 and Burnley not really threatening too much, I can understand Mourinho's thinking there of taking Sanchez off. There are bigger battles to come up. He isn't playing for Chile, incidentally, in the 2 international games they got lined up. I think they're both friendly matches anyway, so I think he's probably done the right thing. Opted out for that and keep himself fresh for the Watford game 2 weeks' time. As Pogba plays the ball out towards the far side and finds Rashford there and tangling there with Barnsley, but Tarkowski in there to win the next ball, and he hooks it out for a throw. On the left-hand side of United, level in line with the edge of the 18-yard box of Burnley. Sanchez still looking very miserable, but I don't think he has got much to be upset about. His team are 2 up and coasting as Lingard goes forward, cutting in from the left-hand side, but Tarkowski again getting a good foot in. Now McNeil takes possession, lets the ball bounce a couple of times, and then plays the ball back to Charlie Taylor. Taylor back inside. Good football this from Burnley. As Westwood now lays it in there towards Chris Wood. Wood pirouettes nicely, finds Sam Vokes. Now McNeil. Vokes and Wood waiting in the centre. That's towards Chris Wood. That's a better bit of centre forward play by the Kiwi. Got his header in well. Got above his marker Lindelof. But the header was just a bit tame. And it was easy in the end for David De Gea to get across there. I don't think it was going in the back of the net, actually. No, it was going wide, I think, looking at it from behind the goal. Observing it from behind the goal, but to no avail. So it still remains 2-0 to United. We've had 63 minutes of the second half. Or second half, we've had, well, just coming up towards 20 minutes of the second half, I should say, as the ball is hooked out for a throw-in. Barnsley to take it 10 yards inside the area, inside the United half. Now the ball back on halfway towards McNeil. McNeil turning nicely. McNeil doing well. Good turn there by McNeil. In out. Here's me now to Taylor. Taylor now on the left hand side. A little bit more menacing this from Burnley. McNeil now for the Clarets. Lovely little chip in towards the back post. Lennon was lurking. It's a corner conceded by Luke Shaw, who actually, I have to say, has been one of United's best performers yet again. I really have been pretty impressed. But if I put my neutral head on for a second, Luke Shaw has probably been the player that I've most enjoyed watching play for Manchester United this season. As McNeil now to take the corner from the far side. McNeil with the corner into the penalty area. Good curl on it. Wood almost got there. Headed away by the United defence. Rashford now up against Barnsley. Barnsley winning that particular battle. Westwood back to Barnsley. Gets away from Pogba. And now a chance now for Lennon. The flag has stayed down on the right hand side. It's Lennon now taking on Shaw. But Shaw wised up to him and stayed on his feet. And invariably blocked the attempted cross there from Aaron Lennon. And that was good bit of defensive play there by Lukey Shaw. Coming up towards the last 25 minutes of the match. Burnley 0, Manchester United 2 is the scoreline. At Turf Moor, Westwood back inside again. This has been a disappointing match from Burnley's point of view, but they are battling better now in this game. Tarkowski now for the Clarets. Tarkowski turns. Oh, he's hit his own man and it's gone out for a throw. Bardsley just had to get out the way. Really stupid play there from Phil Bardsley. As the throw-in's taken and Ben Mee does well, gets it back to his goalkeeper. That's a really good play. And now Hart confidently gets the ball to Cork, who's got 2 United players conversion on him, 2 pink-shirted United players. That's surely got to be a foul there. The referee not giving anything. I thought there was a foul there on McNeil, I have to say. This is Pogba now in field, and we're out on the right-hand side. Pogba keeps it in play and the ball out for a throw-in. Well, I'm very surprised that John Moss didn't blow there. I felt that McNeil was, in my opinion, fouled. The referee didn't give it. And, well, you can only give what you sees, but as far as I was concerned, I don't think there was a case to answer there, I must admit. But it remains still 2-0 to Manchester United now, as we now go into the last 25 of the game. As Shaw shoots, and it's a good save at the near post by Joe Hart, behind for a corner. Luke Shaw cutting in, shooting from the left-hand side. Quite an acute angle as he hit that with his left foot. Hit it with some ferocity. I don't know if it was going in. Joe Hart had to make sure that near post was covered, and he did so. It's Pogba to take the corner from... it's Rashford, to take the corner from the far side. Joe Hart, decisive punch. But as everyone's back, it's going to come back at Burnley again. And it's Rashford again for Matic pass. Rashford into the area. 2 players converge on it. One was small and who tries to head it back across goal. And his momentum took him into the advertising hoardings at the back post. And the ball's out of play and behind for a goal kick to Burnley. Fellaini could have gone in there as well. He's a big 6'6" midfielder, isn't he, Marian Fellaini? I felt he could have been a little braver there. But it's a goal kick to Burnley. We approach the midway point of the second half. 67 minutes played now, and still 2-0 to Manchester United, who haven't really given Burnley a sniff in the match so far. And still a chance for Burnley if they can get a goal in the next 5 or 10 minutes. They've got every chance. They've got Ashley Barnes being lined up in a potentially. And then there's Matthias Vydra as well, so they could go three-pronged if they wanted to, the Clarets. And here's Lukaku here. Lukaku on the right-hand side. Lukaku running at Taylor. Lukaku's cross, and Lingard went for it, missed it. Rashford's in there, and the referee's going to give a penalty. The penalty against Rashford, allowed in very clumsily, I have to say. Definite penalty to Manchester United. And I don't think John Moss had too much of a decision to make, really. Lennon clearly pushed him. Rashford does make a meal of it, but Lennon, by pushing into the back of Rashford, gives Mr. Moss the opportunity to blow for a penalty. And it's going to be Paul Pogba to take the penalty. Joe Hart now having a conversation there, but I don't think there was much doubt about the penalty, I'm afraid. And it kills me to say it as a Clarets, but it's going to be Paul Pogba. Well, I thought it might have been Lukaku to take it. He's on the hat-trick, of course, but it's Pogba. He's the designated penalty taker. Now then, can Joe Hart perform a miracle here and keep Burnley in the game? This would settle it once and for all. Again, he goes for that short run-up, and it's taken forever, and it's Pogba right foot, and Hart has saved it fantastically, and behind for a corner, and Joe Hart, full marks to him. He knew exactly where Pogba was going to put that ball. He went to his right where he felt Pogba was going to put it towards him, and he made the save well. That's fantastic goalkeeping, and it got a huge cheer from 3.5 sides of Turf Moor. Saluted it almost as if they'd scored a goal. And you wouldn't think it was a Manchester United corner. Rashford to send the corner in. And the shot back in and deflected away. It was Shaw with a shot, and then the next effort was wide. And behind for a goal kick, it was Matic, in fact, with the right foot. So we're now coming up towards the last 20 minutes. But Joe Hart, what a penalty save. Strikes it to the keeper's left. Strikes it to the left from the kicker's viewpoint, and Hart goes right and guesses right. Just coming up towards the last 20 minutes of the game. That could really spring Burnley into life, get them a bit more motivated. But here's Marcus Rashford bursting a gut down that far side. Plenty of Clarets back though. Rashford goes back inside in towards Pogba. And Pogba now plays it over to the far side by Antonio Valencia, is waiting on the right back in field to Jesse Lingard. I think there'll be a few choice words exchanged between Messrs Pogba and Lukaku. Lukaku will feel aggrieved because he wasn't given the chance for a penalty as Rashford chose to go outside around Bardsley, and Bardsley has a little swipe at him, and then I tell you what, Rashford has headbutted Bardsley there, and there's a bit of a set to here, and it's all kicking off here at Turf Moor. There's a complete free for all. Westwood involved, Hart trying to break it up, Lingard in there to sort it out as well, and the referee's going to have to talk to both protagonists, I fancy here. Bardsley went in to win the tackle with Rashford. Rashford being calmed down by Jesse Lingard. Now what does John Moss do here? Well, he's going to have to call both players over. It's a yellow card for Phil Bardsley for his part in the incident. Now what card is he going to give Marcus Rashford? I think it's booked. I think he's going to send Rashford off here. He's calling Rashford over here. It's a red card for Marcus Rashford. It's a red card for Marcus Rashford. Well, look into that if you will. There was a coming together there, and well, Rashford off the field. Incredible scenes here at Turf Moor. You would hardly credit it. The whole thing is really blown up here. I'm just trying to make out what actually happened, because what happened was Rashford had there was a little bit of a headbutt there, and then, well, Bardsley went in with the tackle, then Rashford came in and polished it off, and it was all a bit of handbags at Temptations, and then obviously there was a little bit of skullduggery going on, and in the end it all came to absolute farce really towards that respect there. So that's a real disappointment there for the Clarets now. Very much a disappointing feature of the game, and well, could have done without all that, to be quite honest with you. But there you go. It was just one of those things, really. As we just see, I'm just seeing a replay. Bardsley's got in with the tackle, and for some reason he's just. I mean, Bardsley didn't do himself favours. I mean, if you look at it retrospectively, I mean, he could have even gone for that, Bardsley, because he did lash out a bit afterwards. And obviously then Rashford retaliated, which you can't do really. It was almost similar to the Richarlison incident last week in the Everton-Bournemouth game, where he just, for no reason whatsoever, he just headbutted an opponent and got himself sent off. So it's just not called for. I can understand Rashford's frustration here, but as we go into the last embers of the game, it's well, look into it if you will, really. But the red card has been issued, and Burnley now have it on the far side. Ball back in there, in towards the area from Bardsley, but away by Manchester United. And here goes Pogba with Lukaku sprinting through the centre. This is Lukaku now up against Ben Mee. Lukaku towards the penalty area. It's Romelu Lukaku. What a good save that is from Joe Hart. Really good save to keep Burnley in the match with 73 minutes on the clock. Really good play that by Manchester United. Great break now, McNeil. Oh, Lennon brought down by Shaw. That must be a free kick. Right on the edge of the box. Referee John Moss deciding that the yellow card's sufficient. Remember, United down to 10 men. And it's all kicked off here. Penalty save from Joe Hart a minute ago. And then a few moments ago, a red card for Rashford. After a skirmish with Phil Bardsley. It's all really kicked off here. So a yellow card being shown as well. I don't know who that was for. He's finishing yellow cards. Confetti. I think Lukaku's been booked for complaining. Wow, it's all kicked off here in this second half, hasn't it? Free kick with Dwight McNeil to take on the byline. Can he force an opportunity here for the Clarets? Coming up towards 15 minutes to go to half before the end of the game. Surely now time must be up. If they can get a goal here, it's game on. If it doesn't go to plan, it's all over. Here's the ball into the area, net, folks. Inside the area. Maybe a bit too close in for him to hit the target, maybe. Still a potential chance. Good free kick from the right from McNeil, and folks got too far underneath it. Wasn't as gilt-edged as the chances he had on Thursday, but still, you would have expected him to have taken those chances a little bit better than that. Lukaku now in the book for something. I think it was a foul on Bardsley, actually. Well, talk about trying to get retribution for losing for what happened to your teammate. I've got to say that one can understand his grievances as Ander Herrera now comes on for the remainder of the match. Inside the last 15, Jesse Lingard making his way off the field. Played okay, actually. Jesse Lingard done well. Looked very sharp in the way he's performed. And Herrera now on for Manchester United. Well, we've had a look at that Phil Bardsley incident once again as Ian Wallen and Sean Dyche now coming towards the last few minutes of the game as the ball's kicked forward from Hart in towards the area once again. Valencia hooking it out, but only as far as McNeil. McNeil on the left hand side. Now Taylor has it. Taylor back inside. Chance here for Westwood to get the cross in. And headed away by Lindelof. As United now look to protect this 2-goal lead as we come up towards the last 12 minutes of the match. Up towards Westwood once again. Away by Pogba. Over the line, over the top it goes, and here goes Lukaku. He's clean through. It's Romelu Lukaku for the hat-trick. He's round the keeper. Surely it could be 3, but Ben Mee, what a superb bit of defending. Lukaku wants a penalty, but Ben Mee does superbly. But once again, Burnley caught cold here. Lukaku onside. Mee is giving up the chase at this point. He goes round the keeper. And for me, that's good defending because he's used his strength perfectly. Lukaku, for me, went down far too easily. Couldn't have given a penalty for that, in my opinion. But here come Burnley now, looking to try and make a fight of it now in the remaining 11 and a half minutes that remain. And here's Taylor now for the Clarets. Taylor now with the cross, deflected on it. And away by Pogba. As Valencia tries to get it away now from Manchester United. There were 2 goals up, but been living on the edge and out of Dwight McNeil for a throw-in to Manchester United. Let's look at this challenge here from Ben Mee. Goalkeeper beaten. Did his best there. And I just think he uses his strength, quite honestly. Nothing wrong with that at all. Lukaku's a big, bulky centre-forward. Shouldn't be going down too easily for me. And I think he did. Well, if he was going to get a penalty, then if they're given a penalty, then I would have turned into Mother Teresa, quite honestly. As Ashley Barnes replaces Dwight McNeil for the remainder of the game. Done well today, Dwight McNeil. Hasn't let anybody down at all in the game. A goal kick to Manchester United, ahead to take it. As Westwood now wins the next ball here for Burnley. Westwood gets the ball forward. Lennon is there like a foul. The referee plays on. And here's Matic now through the centre. Lukaku's still looking for that hat-trick chance. And here's Paul Pogba now. Pogba cuts inside, pull back this time. Is this the moment for Lukaku? Good block again. Taylor getting himself in the way by the penalty spot. That was good, stout defending. Nothing wrong with that at all. Great defence there from Charlie Taylor for Burnley. And that was really top-rate defending. It's a corner kick. As we now go into the 81st minute of the match. 81 gone. Burnley now, Manchester United 2. Barnes and Vokes now on for Burnley. But the game looking to get away from it now as Herrera takes the corner. Poor corner, didn't reach the first man, and then they made almost the dogs did of that clearance. Burnley in the end, Lennon was able to get the ball away, and he finds Westwood on the far side. Westwood now tracked all the way there by Pogba, and the long ball forward up towards Ashley Barnes. Can Ashley make a real difference now in the last 7 minutes? This is Barnes again, left hand side. Barnes with a good deep cross and a good header one by Sammy Vokes. But again, you've got to say, David De Gea, good handling at his far post. But Ashley Barnes, what a cross that is! Terrific play and a good header. It was on target, and Sam Vokes did everything right. But David De Gea is playing like a top-notch goalkeeper this afternoon when he's needed to. And at the other end, it's Lukaku. Still Lukaku. Gets the cross in. Pogba's there on the far side. Pogba with a shot and across the face and out for a goal kick. A chance at either end there in the space of 30 seconds. One for Burnley through Sam Vokes, and then the next one for Pogba for Manchester United. Lukaku's cross from the left. Pogba pirouetted, shot with his left foot and well wide in the end of the target. Missed by a long way, in fact, from Paul Pogba. But it did go for a goal kick. Here's Fellaini tracking back. Matic is in there. Burnley making it a little bit more tougher for United, but they've got a free kick here, Manchester United. Herrera was taken out there by Sam Vokes. Matic, sorry, that was taken out by Sam Vokes. Burnley do have Mattia Vidra now, and he's going to come on. And I've got to say, it's Chris Wood that's going off, and I'm afraid he's not had he's had another less than average game, I'm afraid. His movement in the penalty area has been very suspect. Now this man is a talent, a good player, Mattia Vidra. Scored the goal against Olympiacos the other night, and should have had a penalty about 90 seconds later, which might have made the tie that little bit more retrievable on the night for Sean Dyche, but as it happened, the fates conspired against them there. 6 to play plus stoppage time. Burnley 0, Manchester United 2. Mattia Vidra on. All 3 substitutes by Sean Dyche, and all attacking substitutes. As Cork wins it in midfield for Burnley. Goes to the left hand side. Taylor's there. Taylor needs to whip a ball in, I feel, but he's going to run at Herrera. The ball in towards Ashley Barnes. Back to Taylor again. Taylor again digs it out. Finds Cork. Plenty in the penalty area. Vidra was lurking on the edge of it as well. Here's Westwood now. Trying to get Barnes in behind. Barnes now. Just can't reach it. Ashley Barnes. Applauds the through ball from Westwood, although it was rather over hit there by the former Aston Villa and Sheffield United man. John Moss keeping an eye on the time wasting, but there's a lot of glum faces amongst the Burnley fans. I don't think we're expecting 1 point from the first 4 games. Draw against Southampton, heavy defeat in the end as it turned out to Watford, and then of course we had the shocker at Fulham as well, which hasn't helped, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult as well at the moment. Here's Charlie Taylor now for Burnley. 5 plus stoppage time to go in terms of minutes, as Taylor's cross is well plucked out under no great pressure of the air by David De Gea. Well, Burnley have huffed and puffed, but no real end product as Lukaku. I thought he took out Ben Meader, and he has to be careful here, Lukaku, because he's giving it the other way. Well, I felt it was a free kick for Burnley, that, but the referee has given it in the favour of Mr. Lukaku. Well, I'm mystified about that decision. I felt that was a foul on Ben Mee. Well, look into that if you will. There's Mee and Lukaku. Mee loses his footing, goes down. For me, that was a push on Ben Mee. Well, the more I try to understand referees, the more I'm losing the will to live. Free kick to Manchester United. 4 minutes to play. That's a very questionable decision, in my opinion, by referee Moss. Although, we're not clear with that. I know Mourinho wanted Ben Mee sent off. I think that would have been rather harsh, to be fair. I'm trying to even up the score. But at the moment, it's still 2-0 to Manchester United. And Paul Pogba in the wards that time as Delaney has it out on the left hand side. Plays a 1-2 with Shaw. Delaney spell over a little bit, but it is a throw into Manchester United as we go into the last 3 minutes of the game. And well, it has been, in the end, probably a comfortable score line if you looked at it, if you're an outsider looking in on face value, but really overall Burnley haven't made it easy for them in the second half. Let's be fair, here's Cork now for the Clarets, and that's a handball there by Paul Pogba. Definite free kick inside the centre circle, and now Burnley now showing now have got to make at least one of these chances pay if they're going to get a chance now in the remaining time that remains. This is Taylor now for the Clarets. Back inside to Cork. Cork again along the ground. Vidred trying to dig it out. Volks is there too, and so too is Barnes, but again Barnes just couldn't dig it out again from under his feet. Lukaku tussling there in the midfield for Manchester United. Gets Herrera on his way down the right hand side. Herrera does well. Good skills there by Herrera. Sweet skills by him, actually. Valencia on the far side. Manchester United 2-0 up. 2 minutes plus stoppage time left of the game. Valencia now keeping the ball on the left hand side, and United now just toying around a little bit now. Just trying to play with no fuss, no problems. 2 goals clear, time running out. And the more time they have on the ball, the more difficult it is for Burnley to try and make anything of it. Pogba foul there by Bardsley, who really has to watch his step. Could have arguably been sent off as the shot goes wide. I think it was Herrera with a right foot, something like 25 yards out when he tried that. It went well wide of target. Well, Burnley, 1 point from their first 4 games, second bottom of the league. It's not looking good at the moment. The only blessing is being out of Europe, as hard as it is to take. Because you look at the groups, Olympiacos ended up with AC Milan and Real Betis in the group, so could have been so different if Burnley had got through. But the momentum it would have given them going into that game would have been tough as the advantage is played, and Pogba going through like a man possessed through the centre, and in the end it took 2 Burnley defenders to tackle him fairly. And here comes Phil Bardsley now to the left of the centre circle over the halfway line, back in field again. Bardsley now. Barnes wanting the ball, but it's Westwood now in the centre for Burnley, going up towards the halfway point of the United half. 30 seconds of normal time to go. Taylor towards Barnes, still on the left hand side. Barnes with a low cross this time in towards Matija Vidra, but again good blanket defence there from Manchester United. Here's Phil Bardsley to win the next ball. Tarkowski for the Clarets. Is there a grandstand finish in the off in here? Chance here, shot comes in from Barnes, scuffs it well wide with his right foot. And that's been the story of the match, I'm afraid, for Burnley. We've played the 90 minutes here at Turf Moor, and we're going to have another 4, I can report now, at the end of the game. So, with this, it's the game lost, and they need 2 goals in 4 stoppage time minutes. I don't think they're going to do it, Burnley. Second from bottom in the bottom 3. It's not looking good. There's going to be several issues that need addressing, really, as the ball is back to Joe Hart. In fact, there was a foul there by Lukaku, still going for his hat-trick. And then he just shoves Tarkowski nonchalantly out the way, but nothing sinister in that as Burnley get on with the game, as they have to now, going into the last 3 minutes and 20 seconds. And that's going to be a corner surely to Burnley. Won by Vidra from Lindelof. Corner taken quickly. Barnsley with the cross. In towards Sam Vokes. Good header and a good fist away by David De Gea. Good save. Still alive for Burnley. Vidra's header over the bar from the right-hand cross there on the far side. And, well, 2 good opportunities there for the Clarets at the end. David De Gea with a great first save here. Good cross from Barnsley to deny towards Sam Vokes. Good save there. And then the ball back in. I can't tell who got the crossing originally from the second time, but Matija Vidra, well, just nodded over there from about 5 or 6 yards out. Paul Pogba about to come off now for Manchester United, as United now ringing the changes at the end. Eric Bailey coming on now for the remainder of the match. We're now halfway inside the allotted 4 minutes of stoppage time at the end. Been a disappointing night or afternoon for Burnley. Pogba's worked hard. So many talking points for people to digest. United, well, when people look at the score, people are going to think it was a comfortable win. Far from it, Burnley made it tough in the second half. It's just a shame they had to start playing well at 2-0 down to do that. Meanwhile, there's a chance here for a number 3 shot comes in from Herrera. It's straight in the arms of the goalkeeper. And it was easy for Joe Hart. Carried it in, no problem, as Burnley looked to go forward. Good defence there by United. Taylor with the throw. 90 seconds of the 4 to go. Looks like a hopeless cause, really. Here's Jack Cork now for the Clarets. Can they make a little fight of it towards the end? Cork now. Vidra trying to make a dart down the left, but it has to go back to Taylor. United with 7, 8, 9 bodies back. In towards Vokes. Barnes is there too. Vidra knocks it on. I can't find Sam Vokes or actually Barnes. And David De Gea can waste a few more seconds. We've got 1 minute of the 4 still to play. And then I would think that will be that really for this afternoon. And he'll feel a little bit better about things, even though his facial expression doesn't say that. Michael Carrick actually sat alongside him there. But, well, I don't think it's going to be a more eventful press conference today than it was on Monday when they lost heavily at home to Tottenham, Manchester United and Jose Mourinho. And it was pointed out to him that they'd lost 3-0. He pointed out they won 3 premierships and one more than all the other 19 managers. Well, maybe that's press conference. There may have been a bit of method in his madness there, maybe. 15 seconds left of the allotted time. Can Burnley at least try and force a consolation? The game's lost for them now, obviously. Flick on there towards Vokes, or by Vokes towards Barnes, but again, good defending by Manchester United. We've played the 4 minutes. All eyes on Jonathan Moss, the referee, as the ball is hooked forward. And we're still playing on as Ben Mee looks to get there. Tarkowski to win the next header. And, well, the game is up now for Burnley. Time added on at the end of time added on. As Tarkowski now looks to try and get a ball forward. I think this time has run out on Burnley here. And we're still going on. I think he's allowing a little bit more stoppage time. Maybe for the substitution in stoppage time. As Lenny turns inside the area. Tries to pick up Vidra. Can't do so. And it's hooked out for a throw-in. And I don't think there's going to be time to take the throw-in because the final whistle has been blown by Jonathan Moss, the referee. So what an eventful afternoon. 2 goals in the first half from Lukaku. But then United had a penalty midway inside the second half, which was missed by Pogba. Great save from Joe Hart. And then a few minutes later, there was the altercation between Barnsley and Rashford, which saw Rashford red carded. Burnley did have a couple of opportunities, one through Sam Vokes, which was saved by David De Gea, and then Matija Vidra at the end. But they just weren't able to break down a very, very well organised Manchester United. And Burnley, well, 1 point from 4 games. And that's not what will have been targeted at the start of the season. Serious questions have to be asked. But the full-time situation here, it's finished here. Burnley 0, Manchester United 2. And that's where we've got to leave it, folks, for today. Don't forget, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time with the Saturday Game Live and the return of one of our big match commentators after a long break. Chris Whiteman will be back in the box for the foreseeable future and for the rest of this season. So we'll be happy to welcome Chris back in a couple of weeks' time. But the news here from Turf Moor is not good. Burnley have been beaten 2-0 by Manchester United. From me, JB, take care. Bye-bye.